Hello and welcome to Old Lady Plays. I'm Kate, the Old Lady, and this is Versus4, the final special bonus episode, in which I have gone through and done the work to pick out a dream team from Versus4 Season 2. I didn't do this for Season 1 just because it would have been at least twice as much work, and it took me all day to do just the 4 creators today in one season, so that was enough. So the basic method here is that I have picked a formation that covers what most of us did. Custard Prophet, for instance, didn't use wingers, but the other 3 of us did. Everybody used either a defensive midfielder or an attacking midfielder. That sort of thing. We all played 4 at the back. Generally speaking, we played 2 in midfield, 3 in midfield, often 1 as a DM and a couple of forwards, or 1 as an AM and a couple of not forwards, midfielders. So, it's not a perfect representation because I had to sort of pick a formation that would cover most of us, and so some weirdness has happened in a couple of places. First, though, let's see. We have here we go. We have the goalkeepers and the defense on this page. I've got another page with the rest of the positions. In the goalkeepers, one immediately stands out in that he had 2 more clean sheets than anybody else and 3 less goals than anybody else, 3 fewer goals than anybody else conceded. He had the lowest conceded per 90, and overall, it's hard to argue that he was the best. He also had the highest average rating, so it's fairly clear that Donnarumma is the man for the situation. So, let's show you that. Right, there you go. And onward. So we're going to keep doing this through the rest of them. Sorry, to be clear, the red marked ones are avoiding relegations players. Blue is Football Manager Maniac, yellow is Custard Prophet, and purple is myself, Old Lady Plays. So at right back, 2 of us went with Danilo, who was the main right back when we arrived at the place in the first season. Football Manager Maniac didn't like Danilo, so he immediately in the first season went out and got Joshua Kimmich. I played Danilo in the first season, but then got a great offer for him in the second season, and he really wanted to go, so I said fine, I let him go, and I went and got somebody else, Timothy Castaigne. Now, again, I think in this one, there's a clear winner. Let me get my little paper here because it's a little hard to see on the screen for me. At DR, yes. For me, the obvious winner is the one with the highest rating, the most assists. Yeah, that's pretty much my reasoning for it, which is, again, avoiding relegation. So it's Danilo from Avoiding Relegation who gets the nod at right back. So, center back. We had a lot of commonality in the center back position. 3 of us played Bonucci all season, and the other played De Ligt. While on the other side, the partners for Bonucci have been Demirol and De Ligt. So, and the one time with De Ligt, it was them also. So here we go with the right back, with the right center, and we have a clear winner again, I think, in that Avoiding Relegation's Demirol got a 7.57 with 2 players of the match. He's the only center back to get a player of the match in this group. and he got 2 of them. He had 5 goals compared to Football Manager Maniac's De Ligt, who had 7, but he had 4 more games to get those in, and he had a lower rating. So for me, Demiral is the one who gets the nod here. All right, so let's, move this down again. Okay, trying not to reveal too much while I'm doing this. It's a little tricky. At the other center back position, as you can see, we had Bonucci, De Ligt, and Bonucci. So for me, it's a pretty close call. All right, it's a pretty close call. But avoiding relegations, Bonucci had 27 matches, 3 goals, an assist, and a player of the match with a 7.4. While Football Manager Maniac's Bonucci had 23 appearances with 3 goals, 1 assist, and no players of the match with 7.4. So in a very close race, and both of them were better than De Ligt or my Bonucci. So in a very close race, I don't see how it can go to anybody but avoiding relegation. It is very close, but he does have the player of the match. He played a few more games. In general, I think he just did slightly better. So Leonardo Bonucci of Avoiding Relegation's team gets the, oh, I'm pushing the wrong thing. That's the wrong thing. Hold on a second. I gotta fiddle a little bit here. There we go. That's what I need. And finally in defense, at left back, we had unanimity. It's the only position on the field where we had unanimity. All of us played Alexandro as our main left back. And he did very well for all of us. Custard Profit 7.26, 7.43 for me, 7.52 for Football Manager Maniac, and 7.53 for Avoiding Relegation. And Avoiding Relegation's Alexandro got himself 9 assists to go with 1 goal. He had the fewest player of the matches, but he did have the highest rating. My Alexandro had no goals and only 6 assists, but in 4 player of the matches. And I had the 3rd highest rating. So anyway, once again, I'm looking at this and I can't see any way to not pick Avoiding Relegation. He has the highest average rating. He has the highest assists. I think that it's fairly clear that he's the one that needs to get this. So that makes a clean sweep on the first page for Avoiding Relegation, which is interesting because he finished last. But there you go. That's kind of the funny thing about a dream team is you never know who's going to be. And again, these are very, very close. A couple of them could have gone the other way, Football Manager Maniac's way, but they're so close, and in each case there's a slight edge, and I mean very slight. So anyway, let's get on with the next one. I need to turn this off and go to here. There we go. And then unlock that. Good. Okay. At the top here, we have the DMAM category. And that has, let's see, it has Miralem Pjanic for Avoiding Relegation. It has Paulo Dybala at attacking midfielder for Football Manager Maniac. Federico Bernardeschi at attacking midfielder for Custard Profit, and Miralem Pjanic for me at defensive midfielder. And in this case, let me see. There's a couple of strong candidates. The best 2, I would say, are Dybala with of Football Manager Maniac with 12 goals, 16 assists, 4 man of the match, and 7.47. That's pretty convincing. But Pjanic for me had 6 goals, 10 assists, 8 player of the matches, and an 8.03 rating. And I'm sorry, anybody who can get an 8 rating over a whole season at the top level of Serie A, that's a winner to me. So I am awarding this one to myself. Marilyn Pjanic gets the nod at defensive midfielder. Okay. Next, we have the 2 midfield center roles. We have one with, let me make sure I've got them right here. With Bentancur, there you go. Bentancur, Fernandez, Pjanic, and Kovacic. That's right. Okay, that's the group. I just want to make sure I had the right group. In this case, we have a number of possibilities. Pjanic for Custard Profit had 8 goals and 13 assists with 5 player of the matches and a 7.75 rating. That's 0.3 higher than Bruno Fernandes got with a couple more goals, a lot fewer assists, and the same number of player of the match. So for me, Pjanic is leading that one pretty heavily. Bentancur for avoiding relegation doesn't come close, nor does my Kovacic. And so I think this is one that has to go to Custard Profit. And Marilyn Pjanic makes his second appearance in the Dream Team. This time it's Custard Profit's version of them. And on to the next midfield center, we have, as options, avoiding relegation has Rabiot, Adrien Rabiot. Football Manager Maniac has Bruno Fernandes. Wrong line. Football Manager Maniac has Rodrigo Bentancur. And both Custard Profit and I have Adrien Rabiot. He's a fairly popular choice. In this case, I think the clear edge has to go again to avoiding relegation. His Rabiot had 10 goals, 4 more than the next best, Custard Profits with 6. He had 6 assists, which was just 1 behind Custard Profits' 7. 6 players of the match, double what Custard Profits had 3. And a 7.72 rating, which is 0.41 higher than anybody else. So that's a pretty clear winner to me. That's Adrien Rabiot playing the other midfield position for avoiding relegation. At AMR, all right, this is one of the tricky ones because, again, Custard Profit didn't play wingers, so he actually had 3 center midfielders. Fortunately, Aaron Ramsey can be considered a right winger. In fact, I played him there a number of times myself as a fill-in. And so I've considered Aaron Ramsey as the winger here. And I admit that that's kind of a kludge to get the thing to work, but that's how I figured that out anyway. Football Manager Maniac has Bernadeschi, who had 27 games, 12 goals, 8 assists, and 2 player of the matches with a 7.33, which is pretty darn good. But avoiding relegation had Costa, who had 14 goals, the same 8 assists, and 4 player of the matches with a 7.59. So once again, I am forced to say that it's got to be avoiding relegation and Douglas Costa. In the last case, let me just, okay, that's fine. Not that. There. At AML, and this is where things get a little interesting, 3 of us had Ronaldo, and Football Manager Maniac had Costa because he played Ronaldo up front. And again, there's a couple of standouts here, a few really. Costa did okay, 7 goals, 7 assists, 2 player in a match with 7.17, but the okay is not going to cut it at a position where you've got Ronaldo. So My Ronaldo, 32 games, 27 goals, 5 assists, 9 player of the matches of the 7.6, which I thought is a pretty good one. Custard Prophet had him injured most of the season, so he only got half the games, but he got 17 goals and 5 assists in his 18 starts, with 4 player of the match and a 7.81. That's pretty good too. But for my money, it's got to go with avoiding relegation, who in 29 games got 33 goals out of a 36-year-old Cristiano Ronaldo, 6 assists, and 10 player of the match, with a 7.83, I think it reads. So, like I said, it's just not close, I think, that it's got to be avoiding relegations, Cristiano Ronaldo. And then for a striker up front, we have a fairly close battle. And I think this is going to be a place where it could get a little controversial, but I think I've made the right choice here. Coming in last, my own choice, Dembele. I sold Dybala at the start of the second season because he desperately wanted to go to Liverpool, and they offered me 110 million or something like that, and I took it. So I brought in Moussa Dembele, and he managed to provide a reasonable return. He got 18 goals in total, 32 games, 11 goals, and 2 assists, with 1 player of the match, with only a 7.05. So not overwhelmingly good. Next up the line would be Tammy Abraham, 33 games, 23 goals, 4 assists, 5 player of the match, 7.31, which is pretty good. But it's not quite as good, I think, as Dybala with 28 games, 16 goals, and 9 assists with 3 player of the matches, but a 7.73 rating. And here's where it gets controversial, because for me, the pick of the bunch is actually Ronaldo for Football Manager Maniac with 25 goals, 4 assists, and 6 player of the matches with a 7.44. And the reason that I've gone for him is over Dybala is that he's got not quite twice the goals, but say, 2/3 again the goals. And he's 36, and he managed to do this anyway. So this is the only really controversial one, I think, is probably this one, where I'm picking Ronaldo of Football Manager Maniac over Paulo Dybala of avoiding relegation. So what that leaves us with then is a team that looks like this. The Versus4 S2 Dream Team is Cristiano Ronaldo of Football Manager Maniac with 25 goals, 4 assists, and a 7.44. Right wing, this is backwards. These are backwards. This should be left wing and right wing. That doesn't really matter a huge amount. Ronaldo can play the right wing just as well, and Costa can play left wing just as well. So, but they should be reversed. Ronaldo should be a left wing, and had 33 goals, 6 assists, and a 7.83. Douglas Costa on the other wing, 14 goals, 8 assists, and a 7.59. Rabiot from avoiding relegation again, 10 goals, 6 assists, 7.72. Pjanic takes up 2 slots in the midfield. He takes up one of the midfield slots with 8 goals, 13 assists, and a 7.75. And my own guy, Miralem Pjanic, 6 goals, 10 assists, and an 8.03 rating, which is the highest in the game, basically. Nobody exceeded that. So I thought he had to be in there. And then the defense is all avoiding relegation. Alexandro, Leonardo Bonucci, Meric Demiral, Danilo, and Dimitri Donnarumma. I think I might even have Bonucci's name wrong. I think it might be Leandro, but I can't remember for sure, and I don't really feel like looking it up. And so yeah, the total for this, if I work it out, this team scored 106 goals, 65 assists with a 7.63 rating and 44 players of the match. That's just the starting 11. Now, none of us got that many goals in the league, I don't think. avoiding relegation may have come close, but 106 goals just from your starting 11 is an amazing total. And a 7.63 average rating for your starting 11 is outrageous. So, and 44 players a match in a 38 game season is kind of impressive. Um, as far as as far as goals against, we would be at 10 goals against with 23 clean sheets. So we would have a goal difference of 96 plus 96. Not too darn bad. And yeah, so that's how the dream team shakes out. What do you think? Let me know how you feel about it. Let me know what you think in terms of who do you think should have been picked. Was there somebody I picked that you think is wrong? Um, should avoiding relegation have swept up quite as much as he did? There were several close ones, and I would absolutely agree that some of them could go different ways. I tried not to pay attention to who was getting most of them when I was doing it. I just tried to be as neutral as possible. Um, but there you go. That's how I think we're going to do it today. Um, I hope that you enjoyed the episode and that you enjoyed the series. It was a brilliant series to make. I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to Versus4 very much. That's going to be in the new year under FM21. And we've got a great format. It's going to be really interesting. I think we're going to really enjoy that one too. So look forward to Versus4. That's going to be great. Custard Prophet will have the details when we get closer to the date. But that's your dream team for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate your time. I hope you have a great day and take care.